without further ado, I'll let Alok take the stage and crack on. Thank you.
Okay, great. So before lunch we were talking about the kind of overall process, and obviously we all understand that you have to look at everything from when you attract them in the first place right through how you do the service of the treatment and everything like this, and afterwards as well. What I'm going to do today is, well, right now, is talk more about the front part of it. How do you attract them in the first place and how do you manage that? So, for example, this diagram which I had made, we talk about attracting traffic. So this is like the first part of the lifecycle marketing sheet that you've got. So attracting traffic, how can you essentially get people's interest and their eyeballs to pay attention to your stuff? Then in the middle it says build lists, so capture emails, build a list and nurture to enhance relationships. So what can you have in between there to make sure that they feel interested, that they want to give you their contact details to then find out more things, for example, okay? And then obviously converting sales, because it's one thing them saying, okay, I'm interested in learning, I like what you say, I like what you write, all this kind of stuff, but when they phone they don't get a good experience, or it's not answered in the correct way, or someone says an offhand comment which you don't think is even anything and they don't think is anything, but that actually is a conversion killer, and you've got to know about these things. Then obviously you're looking at like how they deal with email inquiries. So if someone just sends a casual email inquiry, how should that be handled, nurtured, all that kind of stuff. Then obviously in the dental chair, like how do you explain things, or treatment chair, whatever it is, in a different way? How do you kind of systematically go through that process, and how do your associates go through that process, or how would you want your associates to go through that process? So you've got your own way that systematically each customer is given the best possible opportunity to engage with everything that you possibly offer. And then front desk, how do they then go with that, feeling engaged and motivated to go to the front desk, and that translates into the finance aspects of it, so that they don't feel that actually he said something here but you're saying this to me, and you've got to make sure it's seamless. So it's just thinking about this front part of it. Okay, so my objectives for you is that you understand lifecycle marketing and you understand an integrated marketing and sales approach. I mean, the word lifecycle marketing actually is the wrong word, because it's not just marketing, it's your business. And what I'm trying to get across to you is if you look at this whole process as a framework for your business success, because the terrain will change around you, but the process stays the same. So if you understand that, you can adapt and switch what you need to switch, and understand what they would look like in your place. Okay, so why is it changed? Why is it important? Marketing has changed, competition has increased, people take longer to make decisions. If you see something about a car now, you're not necessarily going to buy it right now. I think they've done surveys and studies whereby maybe 5% of a potential market is open to buying something right now, but then there's maybe another 5 or 6% that may be open to buying it in the future, but not right now, but they're not actively looking. And then there's another further percentage that didn't even know about it, so then they need to even get into that second 5% before they can even get to the other 5%. So if you're looking at 5% versus like 15%, there's 10% of opportunity potentially, and everyone's fighting around that 5%. That's like a red ocean, if you want to call it, but then nobody else is really paying attention to that other 10%. So if you can do both, you will do better. So you need to have a system in place to make sure you can do that. So what's lifecycle marketing? As we talked about, how you attract people's attention, how you capture their contact details, how you keep in contact with them, how you convert them into sales, how you deliver the service, how you offer more things afterwards, and how you get referrals from them. So again, begin with the end in mind. What does the ideal customer do? So they purchase from you. So there's 5 action features I identified. They purchase from you. They purchase high value items from you. They purchase from you repeatedly. They refer their friends and family to you. They write reviews and testimonials for you. So what you've got now is you've got a high value person who provides leverageable goodwill because it's online. So you want to have all of these things. That would be your ideal. If you could fill your practice with all those kind of people, how valuable would your practice be? How fulfilling would your day be? Very much so. So if you're intentional about that and you think, okay, how can I do that? So what would the process have to be? What would the phone call have to be? What would the experience have to be? You can work backwards from there. So we talked about that happy, healthy, paid in full and all that stuff before. Obviously, all of this stuff, it feels like, oh my God, there's so many things to do. How on earth am I going to do all this stuff? Well, this is where automation and different technologies come into play, and having systems. So how patients get sent emails, what they'll look like, aftercare letters, calling people afterwards, how will you find time to do these things, how will you remember to do all these things? So the power of Infusionsoft, which is essentially marketing automation, because who knows, like, I don't know, in the future it might not be Infusionsoft, it might be something else. So I always pay attention to fundamentals, never mind what things are. This, like, for example, there's a Gmail thing called Yesware, which is fantastic, which basically you can see if someone's opened up your email or not, you understand? So there's little ways you can get feedback in different ways. Technology will change, but fundamentals will stay the same. So essentially with marketing automation, you're sending the right message to the right person at the right time. So at the time that they're interested, you want to kind of get that. obviously we've written a guide, so obviously there's different things which go through the different aspects. So if you want to create loyal customers, there's different ways you could have like a wow experience to begin with, so like a note or a chocolate or whatever you want to have it, just like that happened in the hotel. You want to make sure you got different intentional steps that they will engage with so they get positive experiences. So they've not even spent money with you, but they feel, okay, this is good, this is a good relationship, so what happens more? It should be a better relationship. Okay, what should happen more? Just always have an ascension pathway, so it's always better for them. You also want to have a system to grow customer value. So they come in saying, I want my teeth cleaned, fine, no problem at all. Did you also know that you have this and this? Here's some information on this, and we're going to follow up with you and see you in 3 months' time, but also I'm just going to send you something as a side, which could be like a hygiene pack saying, by the way, you came in for a normal hygiene appointment, which was what you wanted, but there were some pockets in these areas, and I know at the moment you didn't want to have a gum disease treatment or whatever like this, but here is something because we care about you. I mean, you can structure it. Obviously that's a low value treatment, but it's still important, and you look at the lifetime customer value about like that relationship, what is that worth to you? So just by thinking about each customer that comes in, how can you grow them? How can you grow that relationship? And if you just think about, okay, for each of these, I'm going to design this pathway. For this person, I'm going to design this pathway. And that's that lifecycle marketing planner I had before, where you could literally start with a hygiene patient and say, okay, all the way through, how does that go? Start with sedation patient, how does that go all the way through? Implant patient, same thing like that, okay? Okay, so again, for reviews and referrals, you'd have different steps in there. You can get really interesting because you can also automate training. So for example, we're trying to hire a new receptionist at the moment, part-time one, and I'm a bit pressed for time at the moment, but what I wanted to do was I created a form where they had to fill out answers before they could even come and talk to somebody, so we could screen based on open-ended answers to different things. So that's a good shortcut. So you don't have to spend the time on phone with people unless you can see their answers to some things. But then what I could have done, but I didn't do, is I could have then say, okay, let's give you another hoop to jump through. So if you've done that, then a goal is triggered, which I'll talk about, which could then make them have to do something else. And then based on that, Lucy would only have to call 3 or 4 people that could follow 2 sets of instructions. Because if you can't follow 2 sets of instructions before you even come to see us, what hope in hell have we got of you following other instructions and going from there? So you can get quite clever. And also if you've got your vision and your mission, saying, okay, we create healthy smiles for these people, we do that, you could load in content based on like appraisals or reviews. You could have like quarterly something sent to them, like, oh, it's been 9 months, 3 months you've been with us now, and I mean, you don't have to remember this stuff, it can happen automatically, but pay attention, care about the message you write, because when automation will magnify things, so it can make bad things worse, but it can make good things better. So that's why if you just pay attention to the different messages. So what does this look like for dentists? So there's kind of 3 simultaneous life cycles that you kind of need to be thinking about, okay? You're looking at new potential customers, so people that inquire. How can you turn them into active customers? So you're looking at your different sales funnels. You're looking at like general, implant, braces. They're different sales funnels basically there. Then you're looking at inactive customers, so people that bought from you at some point in the past but haven't engaged with you at some point in the future because they just kind of fell through the cracks. So what do you have in place to keep in touch with them? And do you have something a bit more targeted, a bit more personal, which could potentially reactivate their interest or deepen the relationship? Remember, you want to do 2 things with any communication: improve a relationship and offer an opportunity to kind of do something else further. Then it's not then marketing, it's just communicating, isn't it? You know. And the third thing is you're looking at active customers to be nurtured into 5-star customers. So like we had all the 5 action features. How can you systematically take each regular customer and grow them into a higher value customer? So for example, if they came in for initially hygiene, then they saw about the braces, and then they understood that their teeth were wearing down and they wanted to kind of make things better, but they can't afford it right now. But at least if they've got a plan together and they've got a finance thing, and then they understand, okay, well, can we do this bit now? Can we do this bit later? And if you've broken it down in phases and you've got a way that you can kind of get that communicated to them, you're going to grow them over time, aren't they? So they're not going to go somewhere else for that. So if you've got these things mapped out, you've got a good opportunity, because it's harder and harder to get new customers, so you want to make the most of the ones that you've got. Okay, so to attract new targeted customers, you first need to understand who could be your customer, and then target the message or advert to them. So we talked about this, where there were like different groups, and so for whatever service you want to provide, again, you can think of it. I don't know, like, I was going to ask if there was any particular type of service where someone maybe wasn't sure about what other groups there could be, or whatever non-customers could be. If you mention it, we can maybe explore and we can see that. If you're fine with that, we can move on. But I'm trying to raise the point that don't just focus on people that are searching for things and just like focus on the bottom of the pyramid, or so to speak, or the top of the pyramid. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and you've just got to think about all the people that could benefit from what you have to serve.
Alex, can you give an example? Let's do, common one is teeth whitening.
Okay.
Do a teeth whitening and someone who's searching for it, but then also there's all this other market.
Yeah.
Do you want to just run through the group?
Sure. So, So obviously teeth whitening is quite a good one in a way because everyone's aware of it, but it's one of those low-grade things which is sitting in the back of your mind. So you'll have some people that are kind of looking for teeth whitening right now. So they might be looking on Wahanda or different places like this. So you want to maybe have some different offers which could be in beauty places where people are kind of already looking for some, okay, I've got some disposable income to spend on making myself look better. Either I spend on this or I spend on that, basically. So if you had maybe kind of a lower kind of priced point or at least intro information, like looking to get your teeth whitened, read this the 3 types of treatment you need to learn more about before you go further, or something like this. So then you target those on different locations where people who are kind of looking for a cosmetic improvement already would be. So you could kind of look at some keywords, but then you could also look at other places, as I mentioned, like different kind of beauty sites and things like this. Then you got people that kind of thinking about whitening their teeth, but they maybe heard about it's damaging or whatever like this. So they in their head, they mentally flip the switch, it damages my teeth, so they're not even going to consider it, because anything they process comes through the filter. I heard about teeth whitening, but it damages my teeth, I don't want to do this. But if you could actually educate them about that, saying, okay, did you know that whitening your teeth is the same as drinking a glass of orange juice, or something like this, and if you could visually communicate that in a simple way, or explain in a way that it's not damaging in that way, or it can be if you use the wrong things, and this is why you need to use this, and this is why we'll use this, but don't go about the product stuff. You're still at the kind of problem level, so you kind of want to be bigger picture. And if you have some information about that, then, as I say, that could even be within your waiting room, or common myths about this dispelled. There's loads of websites you see, like these different before and after tricks or things like this. There's a way you could kind of get that message out there. Then you've got people that maybe would like to get whiter teeth, but don't realize that it can be done in a reasonable time and cost. Again, that's just communicating with people that are in front of you. So in your cloud, you had in your practice different teeth whitening things, and you should have a simple option like, did you want whiter teeth today? ? So it could be, hang on, so I can get it today. So then they can ask the question. It doesn't have to be your staff member saying, would you like fries with that? Would you like whitening with that? Don't take that approach. Use the approach of pull. Like let them come to you, but have your message out there. And then you got other people that would like to have whiter teeth, but maybe they feel a bit conscious that they don't want to feel that they're cosmetic, and there's a lot about this in the English culture where they would like to be better, but they don't want to be seen as a certain way, for example. And so what you've got to do is have a very non-confrontational, kind of health-based way, or some simpler way of kind of talking about saying, okay, the reason your teeth have darkened, or maybe you've noticed it, is because you've actually lost enamel, which was actually making your teeth white. And the reason that's happened is because of these factors. We can actually restore your tooth to protect it, and at the same time it look whiter. Is this something? There's ways you can talk about it. So it's just having different steps.
Thanks.
Okay, so if you're looking at all the different things, we said there were 5 things, like people buy from you, they buy high value things from you, and all this kind of stuff. See, what you want to look at is why wouldn't they do those things? Because if you can systematically address all those elements, then you're going to be very confident when you open your practice that now you've literally got an open funnel. And then when somebody does come in, you don't have to worry too much because you know you've got something in place for them. So for example, why wouldn't they buy from you? They don't know you exist. So if you didn't get your location right, but then you also don't have your marketing right, if you don't give the right information to them so that they don't think, oh, this doesn't speak to me, it looks like an NHS dental practice. I'm looking for a private practice, but the person maybe didn't invest in the right decor or something like this. It's, like we'll all go into certain types of shops, or maybe not into certain other ones or something like this. If I'm getting my haircut, I won't go to a place if I think it doesn't look clean, if you understand. It may be really clean at they might disinfect everything and autoclave everything at the back, but if they haven't cleaned the outside, unfortunately I make the judgment that they haven't cleaned the inside. So some things like this can happen. So you want to go through all the different elements and make sure that you've got an easy way for people to engage with you. So people won't buy straight away. They'll obviously want to kind of hear a little bit about you, read a bit about you, phone your staff, maybe come for a consultation. So free consultations are important and within reason and within a defined thing, but you've got to have all these things in place. So by having all those systems in place, you can then make sure that they will come in. Then you're looking at like, how can you, why do they go elsewhere for high value procedures? Like for example, we get a lot of people obviously that have their own dentist, okay? So for one reason or another, like a lot of people say to me, yeah, my dentist said about 6 month smiles or something like this, but that was all they talked about. So So a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you can do one thing, everyone gets that thing, you know. So, and people aren't stupid. Like, they want to kind of see what their options are. So the opportunities there is if you actually communicate all your options and you say everything and say, okay, well, we do this, but we also do this, and you wouldn't use this here or you'd use this there. So you may do all those things, but if in your practice it just has one brand advert everywhere, maybe you're missing out. You know, so you've got to make sure that your interior and the messages that are kind of said by your staff, that they know how to explain things, is there. So don't lose opportunities in your own place. So again, you want to make sure that you've got the right communication for people that come to see you. Why don't people come back? So obviously I had a big problem with this in the first couple of years because I didn't do anything to try and get people to come back. Like, I just thought, okay, I'm done, job done, that's it, you understand, you know. But like, what you want to make sure is you've got different things, like can you have a process where people always have a next appointment scheduled, and can you have like some alert system whereby you can track when they last came in. So for example, at the moment we're doing a reactivation, I've got a dashboard, I can see how many people have been in the last 6 months, how many people have been in forever, how many people have been in the last 3 months, so then I can work out from there how many potential recall patients should there be, who's inactive, how many people that came for a consult but didn't go ahead with braces or whatever like this has not been followed, and we've got different follow-up sequences for them. So I've got somebody else who can just work to categorize them into it. I want some human intelligence decision making before I turn on automation, so that I don't send the wrong thing to the wrong person. I'll give an example. I actually had a meeting with an orthodontic company, and I was talking about helping them with some stuff, and they were really interested. And then I went home and I got an email from them, which is basically saying the wrong message. Like, they'd set up an automated email to kind of reactivate me as a customer, but saying, oh, you need to show your proof that you went on this training course, and you need to send this to us because you tried to send some lab work to us, and we won't work with you. I'm like, no, I haven't sent any lab work to you. When I did send stuff, because I've been using somewhere else, I sent a lot to you. It was the wrong thing, and I talked to the guy in the company, and he said, this is really embarrassing, because this is just like nothing to do with the meeting, and this is just an automated thing which happened. So you've got to have checks in place, like before you jump in and say, okay, yeah, let's automate everything. Automation applied to an inefficient process magnifies its inefficiency. Bill Gates said that. So you want to make sure what you're doing is right before you grow it. And that's why I said in the first lecture, if you look at the steps and you draw it out, you'll be all right. You know, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Why don't they refer their friends and family to you? Well, a lot of people think you're just busy. They might actually think a referral doesn't necessarily happen by accident. People have to, first of all, think you're good. Then they've got to notice somebody else in their social circle that has the need that you can fix. So they've got to know what you can actually do. Because a lot of people, the first years that we had, they just thought we were a cosmetic dental practice. They didn't know we did other stuff. And I was like, yeah, of course we do. You know, but they didn't know that. You know, so it's. You look at all those lost opportunities. So you've got to make sure they know what you do. They have a social situation which allows them to notice that they can talk about you, and you've got to have an easy way of them spreading the message. For example, we've got a card that's got a free recorded message, so they could listen to that. I mean, you'd have to talk to somebody. Like, if you're just thinking about something, you think, okay, let me call this message, learn a bit more about this, or let me get a free guide here. You want to have all these things in place. Then at the same time, you also want to give the card out to people. So we're going through a phase where we're giving stuff to people when they come for their appointment, like either a chocolate or a whitening pen or something, along with the referral card. So we're going through a phase to make sure that everyone that comes through gets this. So be intentional. You know, you can't expect something. A certain amount will happen accidentally, but accidentally is not a strategy. Why don't people write online reviews for you? Do you ask them? You shouldn't really incentivize them, but it's a grey area. But you've got to have a way that they find it easy to do it and they want to do it, basically. And so, for example, if you've got in your practice, check in here or write a review here, and what people are waiting, they might do it if they like you. So this is where emotional bank account is important, because you're just leveraging it. You're not trying to create something from nothing. You're just giving a conduit for them to express their gratitude for you, basically.
How do you control negative online reviews?
You don't.
You don't. Okay.
You just have to try and get more positive ones, isn't it? And this is why it's so important to try and resolve it before it even gets to that stage. Everyone, if you see enough people, you get enough situations. I've got somebody that we straight into teeth. I mean, they're massively better than they were before, but it didn't happen in the 6-month time period. We don't offer a guarantee, obviously, within certain things like this, but I understand her. Like, she's saying she's got a 40th birthday coming up and she doesn't want to have braces for it. And I said, I understand, you know, so I'd be happy to take them off for you, have your birthday, whatever it is. We can do some stuff to make it look better for you. And then what I can do is I can put them back on afterwards, you understand? So if you respect the relationship, and even, you know, you just respect the relationship, you know, then you're not going to have an issue. Because remember I said in that very first one, if you're checking with people after you've done the treatment, before, you know, are they satisfied? Is there an issue inside of 2 weeks? The firing isn't going to get out of control, because something might have happened. But then if you're following up with everybody, you can catch that, can't you? And it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, come in, let's get this fixed for you. So as you're beginning to understand, get the right message to the right person at the right time. So you want to turn like people that have one action feature into two into three into four, all that kind of stuff. And you want to think about the different times that they would engage with your business, like before they come and see you, during the time they come and see you, after they come and see you. I read a lot of marketing stuff, listen to a lot of things. There's one very, very good podcast called I Love Marketing. It's free. And the guy, Dean Jackson's a genius. And he basically talks about before, during, and after, which is a life cycle approach, basically. So what you get to start to see the commonalities in everything. So that's a good one I recommend looking at. And he talks about the potential value of each of those units. He talks about before unit, during unit, and after unit. So for example, the during unit, like I've got someone I've got like in a networking group with who's in the States, is a real estate agent, and they've got a strategic goal within the during unit. So once someone's just onboarded saying that they're going to buy a place or sell a place, whatever it is, that they want to get a referral then, because headaches happen during the kind of sales process or the renting process, which then can damage the relationship. And unfortunately, that could be out of their control. And I mean, we all know this from clinical treatments, that you can do everything in your power, but they were really enthusiastic at the beginning, but it's not at the end. And if you're only trying to ask for referrals at the end, they may not want to because they're bored of the treatment or whatever. So at the beginning, when they're most excited, that's when the time is to ask. So again, this is like an optimization feature. Like if you then encourage at that point, do you get more referrals? You understand? And then there's other things like consistency and consistency and recommendation. So if someone's recommended someone to you, then they believe in you more. It's all about kind of them increasing their relationship with you. As I say, you can get different worksheets from us. I've got other ones which go into more detail about specific aspects of it. So what are the steps like in a dental system? So let's have a little look. Okay, so promotion and publicity. A lot of people are asking me questions about, well, which media source is good? Where do I advertise? Well, the question is, where are your people? And if it's everywhere, then to a degree, do an 80-20 thing and analyze where those people would be most effective and put your budget into those different places. So have some direct mail, have some Facebook, have some adverts, but in a specific way, and track it, okay? Then you're looking at like how they will opt into your website, measure it, what articles will come up, what videos and different things. You want to have like a surrounding strategy. So you want to be around your target customer. So pretty much everywhere they kind of see one of those 5 groups would find you, basically. Takes effort and takes work, of course, but that's what's required. Build lists. So what you want to then do is make sure that once they've seen that, there's a call to action to then engage with you, to give their contact details, and then you're getting their contact details, and you can see. So obviously every time I get loads of notifications saying form was filled out, whatever like that, I can check geographic locations based on phone calls and different things like this. There's different elements you can look into to make your emails more engaging, and these are all different optimization features. So once you get everything into play, you then want to then start measuring, not every day, but like monthly or quarterly, to see what can be improved. Build list. So I think about 900 emails a month it was from like last year. So we get loads, you know, like, and they all over the place. And even though I control and target my marketing, it still gets out there. So obviously, if you get the right message to the right people, and a lot of people saying, yes, I want to kind of come on board, you can then, if you're building a relationship and goodwill with lots of people every day, then that's a good thing. Okay, so phone calls. So you want to make sure you track where phone calls are coming from. Are certain keywords mentioned? You can track so much stuff with this. And as I say, people, the biggest opportunities are where people don't even think they've got a problem, because they really do, but they don't even know it. And just improving the way you convert phone calls can grow you 30–40%. There's a lot of things in terms of conversion of the inquiries, but there's a lot that you need to kind of look at within there. How do you do an examination? So I kind of documented a systematic way of the kind of different ways and different times that you would kind of talk about something or how you'd go through something in a comprehensive assessment, which then means you've got a system in place. So then you can then say, okay, is this working between me and my associate, or is there something we could do better to make the relationship or the experience better? You want to have a clear way of having a system. And in terms of what we would educate people based on, we've got different conditions or different interest levels that we will traffic light, essentially, okay? So what does it look like for an actual customer behind the scenes? Okay, so this is a person. So Kelly, 17th of March 2013, she opted into a free guide. 9th of May 2014, she went ahead with braces. So that's a year, it's over a year. But that means I spent money here on an advert, and I got it back here, okay? So all the way through, you've got to have a way of measuring and tracking that you're engaging. So initially she opted in for an email, she got some education, she engaged with us a bit more, got some more education, got a phone call from us. This is over a period of time. Booked a consult, cancelled a consult, didn't hear for a bit, but we were still keeping in contact in a specific way. Came for a consult, we've got a system for that, obviously, the way we go through that. Came into a follow-up sequence after the consult and then went ahead for a sale. And when she went ahead, she has had Invisalign before, she's quite affluent, she travels about 45 minutes to an hour to see us, and she went for lingual braces, the most expensive option. So because we'd gone through and explained a lot of different things, and at the consult she was pretty much decided. So when I saw her here, she's heard so much from us for about a year, but not in an obtrusive way, because I also dynamically engage. So if they engage with me, I'll engage with them more. If they won't engage with me, I'll back off a bit as well. So it's responsive. This is just internally so I can see when she did what, basically. This is all the emails from her. So that's 2013, that's May 2014. So you can see over time, and even within there, there's like 5 emails, there's 11 emails back and forth at that point there. So it's a long-term relationship. And she's referred her mum, she's now gone for Botox. I mean, there's lots of things that you can do, but you've got to treat every single person as a potential customer in the right way. And that's where she bought. Yeah, so she went ahead with lingual braces 12 months after her first inquiry. So that means I paid for the advert last year and I got a return this year.
Alok, may I interrupt you? Is this like a software that you have created?
I haven't created it, it's Infusionsoft. So this is what Aaron is talking about as well.
I'm going to demonstrate it
and
after
this can be hooked up to any other dental software that is up and running?
You don't need to hook it up to dental software. You can do it. We've got ways we can integrate with different places.
Right.
But these people, think about it, these people, like 15,000 people on there, a lot of them haven't even come to see us yet. So it's a before they even come in to see you. But then you separate out also, you'd want to have some system in place for people that have come to see you, like the different other cycles that we saw, basically. Okay, so this is, when did I do this slide? A few months ago, but this was, I just literally took a screenshot of the last few hours, and these are all people doing different stuff. Every day I can see things. So what difference would it make to have systems like this in your practice? So imagine if you've got an intentional straight teeth life cycle, implant life cycle, dental life cycle, you're then going to make sure that things don't kind of fall through the cracks, if you understand. If you want to obviously learn more, we've got loads of reports and guides and things like this, which we go into more detail in videos and everything like that. And as I say, we've got this course coming out soon, basically. Yeah, you can like us on Facebook if you want. We'll post a picture of a cat. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alok. Any questions? Alok's here for the next session anyway, but...
It's a lot of information, but what the main thing I would kind of say is, if you, sorry.
How soon after setting up your practice did you start using automation in the system?
I only started using like a year and a half, 2 years ago, basically. I wish I'd done this at the beginning. It'd be, you know, really, I really.
You can see a marked difference.
Huge, doubled. You know, like, and that's also what's enabled us to launch other businesses. So we do the same thing in other, you know, so yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay.